Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM, and 95.3 HD4. News, talk, sports. Nooga Radio.
Welcome to the Comfy Lounge, boys and girls. I'm Keon Rose, and we have some kind of show planned for you again.
Oh, that's a heck of a thing.
It's something.
Now I'm deaf. I couldn't hear before. Now I'm deaf.
Yeah, we're just both being overrun with.
My gosh.
There it is.
That's fixed. For the folks at home, my headphones were unplugged, and I went to fix it, and it was fixed in time. And then when I put them on, I was deafened by the music. So. Yeah,
it was at full volume.
Yeah,
and then
because I'm always the one who turns it down, so I couldn't hear how loud it was. Jeez, what a mess. So I guess we should start out with the title topic, so we don't look like we're baiting people into watching a video or watching a podcast or listening to a radio show. And they're like, hey, they're not talking about that at all.
Yeah, let's start with that. Are we going to give away the title by? Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, the title is "Why Are White People So Racist?"
Good. I just wanted you to be the one to say it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I will say it openly and freely. The title is "Why Are White People So Racist?" And the title is that because it's provocative, A, and because I'm going to completely tear it down, B. So here's the thing, and the whole Mayweather versus McGregor thing sort of got me going. Especially reading the articles that are posted about McGregor and how racist Conor McGregor is. And I'm not sure if he is, because frankly, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And the jumping to conclusions thing sort of gets me going, because it's one of those things that always comes up all the time. Oh my gosh. Like anyone says anything that might be slightly perceived as being racist or racial, and people are like, aha, I've got him. Conor McGregor is racist. And it's like, now come on, you don't know that.
Not for a fact. And especially when it comes to the fact that Conor McGregor is not American, which plays a huge part, because racism, which exists everywhere, looks different everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And from the lens of someone who is Irish, and I suppose anybody who is Irish that is listening to this show, if we have any Irish listeners, you could,
Well, it's the South, I'm sure we do.
Yeah. My Twitter handle is @SportsCloud. I'd like to hear from you, but like.
Oh yeah, mine is @radio_Russell.
But yeah, like from the point of view of someone who is Irish, this is as racism, it looks very different.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all about the environment you grew up in, and it's all about intent as well. Like you can say something that people are like, whoa, that's kind of racist, and that's not at all what he was intending. Because there's a lot of intent that's going on there too.
Right. And you can't be racist on accident. You can be offensive on accident. You can say something that is taken offensively on accident, but you can't. Racism, you have to intend to be racist. You have to look at someone and go, my distinct bias is against the way that you look based on the color of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm going with that.
Yep.
Like, if you don't have that, and you don't have racism, like if racism were something you could try in a court of law, like intent would be probably like the number one thing that would have to be there. And so, like, yeah, I'm sort of in agreement with especially with Conor McGregor, that like the intent to be racist isn't there. But is he trying to offend Floyd? He absolutely is trying to offend
totally.
Floyd.
Yeah.
They're going to fight each other in a ring. They're going to punch each other very hard in the face for 12 rounds. Of course he's trying to offend.
Yeah. And the line in question was, McGregor said to Mayweather, apparently during some press conference roasting session they had, because we were just watching that on YouTube, and it's pretty intense.
Oh yeah.
Apparently Mayweather was dancing, which is I don't know why, but I guess he was. And
McGregor, he has a Money Team theme song.
Oh, of course. And so McGregor says, "Dance for me, boy," and he said it twice. Now, if me, especially being a white Southerner, if I said that to a black person, the connotation is immediately there because of who I am and who the opposing party is. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's completely different given my actual real ancestry and the other person's actual real ancestry. Like, the history exists there. where you can be like, oh man, that's kind of messed up.
There's this idea that basically like you ought to know better.
Yeah, and I should know better.
This is your culture, so you ought to know that that's not right.
Yeah, and it's no different than like if I went to, say, South Africa, which is a place that has a lot of racial tensions, I might very well accidentally say something that people would be like, whoa, that's pretty racist, and just not realize.
Yeah, and I think that this is part of my whole thing where I say you need to have, as much as possible, a wide group of friends from a large amount of backgrounds. Because what you end up doing is ultimately educating yourself on like what would offend other people. Yeah. And then you have an idea to go, okay, I don't need to do that. Like I remember a couple of years ago, I forget the name of the actress, but she dressed up for Halloween. And she dressed up as one of her favorite characters from Orange is the New Black, who is a black character. And so she went out for Halloween in blackface. Which is offensive. But I also don't think she did it on purpose. Like, I just don't think that she was that educated on the subject of Jim Crow. And
yeah, although I don't know how you're not.
How you're not is that you are like a 20-something-year-old actress and you just don't read books.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah,
like or just like avoid Wikipedia or anything that could teach you anything.
Yeah,
like, I know that there's. I don't know. I think that we have a lot of respect for actors and actresses, and I think we have a lot of really great ones. But we also have some really stupid actors and actresses. Like they're just not smart people, and you know, or at least not intellectually curious in any kind of way to know. Oh, the history of my country says that this is not okay, and so like I wouldn't say that she was being racist because the intent wasn't there. Like she legitimately didn't know. When people told her that it was wrong, she was mortified.
Yeah.
You know, like to me, it's like the intent does have to very much be there. Even someone from America can be racist and not realize it just because like there's an education level that has to happen about this. And I don't know that we talk about it necessarily enough in public schools. Definitely. I know we don't talk about it enough.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, you know, it's funny you bring that up because I was just thinking that, which is when you're talking about how white people are taught about racism, just from my own perspective, and I have a really odd perspective because I was homeschooled, so it was a lot more like in depth than I think a lot of people got in the public schooling system. But from what I understand from people who I've talked to, it's really kind of like basic because it's like, you know, white people enslaved black people in the 1860s. It magically ended in the middle of the 1860s, and then there was a lot of like infighting until around the 1960s, and then by the 80s it was pretty much okay, although you're still definitely racist if you do X thing, you know, and it's really basic. And because it's so basic and because there's a lot of like, we don't want to show this because showing it is racist, you don't actually see, you know, like the racial posters. You don't actually see the stuff that was totally not okay then, it is not okay now.
Right. And I think there's a certain level too of like when you make something incredibly taboo. And things should be taboo. I'm not like suggesting like everything should just be available for everybody. But there is some level where you make everything so taboo that you almost make it enticing.
Yeah.
Right. And then like there's like a level of like, at least when you're online, especially, people find it very comfortable like to be racist online.
Yeah.
In large part because it's just like, well, let me try this out. Like this forbidden fruit that you've now handed me. Let me try it out.
Yeah, it's totally that forbidden fruit syndrome because you have people who will do that and then offline, and they may very well not actually be racist, and that's a hard pill to swallow. But they very well not actually be IRL racist, which is you know, mind-boggling.
Right, like our guy, you know, Han A-hole Solo from Reddit, where he's like, I don't know, like the way that his jokes were, like if you go through his history, but like before he deleted it,
and he probably should have, to be honest.
Yeah. But like you look at the way his jokes were, like they were jokes. Like it wasn't like he was like, this is the way that I think this should actually be.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine a person like offline that's not going to sit down and try and offend everybody in their radius with just, you know, saying whatever it is that they want. You know, and I think that there is a certain group of people who certainly believe that the white people are inherently racist.
And I've run into that group a few times, and I'm like kind of confused. I'm like, whoa, man, no,
right? And it's like, well, you can't have it both ways. You can't be like white people are racist when they're actually being racist, and then when they're not being racist, even then they're racist. Because then, like, where does the improvement actually happen? Like, when does this stuff get fixed? If nothing you do changes, right? Like, every action you make towards, okay, I'm going to try and increase and improve my race relations with everyone around me. Like, at what point does it not improve when every action is futile? Because
no matter what you do, it's like, you're a racist, Whitey. And it's like, well, what the heck?
Yeah, like, what do I do? You can't win.
Yeah, it's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And then you go, it's these dang racist blacks that keep calling me racist.
Right. Which, like, not to jump on the other side of that, too, because I actually was called a race baiter by, I assume, another black person online.
You don't know. Who knows these days?
Who knows? That is a good question. But it's like, I do think that black people also can be racist and assume that they can't be racist.
Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of that's probably just like teaching, you know, cultural teaching.
Yeah. And I think that, like, we've got to meet in the middle somewhere where it's like, no, racism is just discrimination based on skin color, and that's it. And anybody can do it, right? Like, even if the discrimination, and I say discrimination in loose terms, but like, even if the generalization being made is a positive generalization, it's still racist to suggest that all Asians are smart or that all black people are cool. I actually had a friend, she was like, all black people can sing. And I was like, no.
What? No.
No. And I know this because I can't sing. I sing exclusively in the shower. And even then it's like, if no one's home and I know it's just me, then I you know, let loose.
Sure.
And even I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. You know, like, even if the generalization is a positive generalization, it is racist to suggest that everybody from a single race can do that, and everybody from every culture can generalize in that way.
I think the only generalization that you can make about a race is that they are that race.
Yeah, that's the only true statement that you can definitively make.
It's like, man, those white people, they're white, aren't they? It's like,
sure,
well, yeah,
white.
Yeah, we are.
Even then, that's not like a generalization that you can make. Because I was talking about it in my show, but Sammy Sosa, and I don't know if you remember what Sammy Sosa looked like in the '90s.
No,
but he's you know, he's a Latin American baseball player. He had very dark skin and has been, like, bleaching his skin progressively.
Has he actually been bleaching his skin?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
He looks like a horrifying ghost. I saw him yesterday because Twitter just had a panic attack when the pictures of Sammy Sosa came out. And we were like, oh my gosh, what happened to Sammy Sosa?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't even say that, like, all black people are black, because at least one black person is Sammy Sosa, and he's no longer black. Like, I don't know what you do there.
He reversed it. He somehow managed to reverse it.
But yeah, it's terrifying that whole thing.
Man, and it drives me nuts, because it's like, in the year 2017, you know, like, people always say, oh, in 2017, like, it shouldn't matter anymore. Like, we've gotten to the point where, like, legally speaking, and I'm not talking about, like, you know, there are racist cops out there, but I mean, legally speaking, everyone is equal. Like, in the court system, in the ideal court system, there's not any legal discrimination based upon race. And I'm saying, like, ideally, because, like, on the books, there's not, as far as I know.
No. But you know, there's no accounting, obviously, for people's biases that are unconscious and stuff like that. But certainly, as much as you can to separate those things, you try. And I think that that's where we're at. Like, you have to give people credit for trying. Mm-hmm. You do, right? Like, it can't be this zero-sum game where it's just, if someone tries and fails, then it's like, no, we're just going to pummel you to death on social media because look at you, you're a racist. But if you succeed, if you do something and it's like, oh, you're actually being helpful, you know, we don't give you any credit for that. Like, that's just the expectation. You're not going to make up any ground on this. I'm sorry. It's just,
no, you've totally screwed everything up.
Incentivizing behavior that you like is a thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And you can do that by just being a nice person to people. Seriously,
like that's 99% of it, is like, just like, don't be crappy. You know, like, and it goes for both sides, but it goes for, like, everybody, is, you know, just don't be like a crappy person, and maybe things will be okay. You know, like it's not hard. It's not hard for me, I don't think. Like, it's not difficult.
No. And I mean, because here's the thing. I'd like us all to get to the point where we don't need to have like freakouts on social media over this stuff.
Yeah.
If you were to say something that offended me, and you haven't over the course of our friendship, and as an example, like if you were, I wouldn't have any problem saying I'm not comfortable with you saying that.
Yeah, and I would be like apologetic and be like, oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, you know.
Yeah, and then if you want to talk about why, we could talk about why, and then not like just squash it, and just let that be the end of it.
Yeah,
like you realize America would be like 10 times a better place if we could just do that. If you could just be like, hey, I don't like that you did that, and then someone could be like, okay, I'm sorry, and that's just the end.
Yeah.
You know.
And I've seen this emerge a lot on social media, and this is a new trend that I've seen a lot, and this is the one that I think is really gonna get the blood boiling, which is white people, and it's not exclusively white people, but white people who do this thing, and I don't understand why they do this thing because it's really not helping anything, where they'll be like, yeah, you know, white people just ruined everything, and it's like, dude, you're white, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's the white guilt. Yeah,
and it's like, you're white though.
And I have to tell some people this, not a ton, but I've told a couple of people this, where it's just like, stop, don't apologize to me. If you apologize to me, I will slap you in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I, at no point in my life, and I've been alive for 27 years, no point in my life have I been a slave, because American men have not been owned as slaves in the 1990s. That was not a thing. So you don't need to apologize to me. You were not a slave owner. I was not a slave. So is there, you could just stop. Just stop it. Okay. If you want to say like, look, I don't like that this is in our history. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Right. Like one of the reasons why my family is Guyanese in South America, and the reason why my family wound up in Guyana is because they were like slaves picking like sugarcane. Like I don't like that was in my history either, but it's there. But I didn't live to experience it, and neither did you. You don't have to apologize to me.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because my ancestors like legit were not slave owners, but my ancestor going back to Louisiana was an overseer. And like, no joke, that was his occupation. And he fought for the Confederacy. And I have less of a problem with that. And that's a whole nother discussion. But he fought for the Confederacy. And to a lot of people, that's like, man, you must be like, man, that's pretty, that's like the worst pedigree you can have in terms of not being racist, you know?
Right. But the idea, at least to me, that the future is not set in stone is supposed to be important, because it's like, okay, we don't have to be that.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to hold on to that. There's no reason to continually blame people for something that none of them were alive for.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to apologize for something that none of us were alive for. It just isn't. And because I understand, like, there are definitely older people who do foster some kind of grudge. Like, they were alive during segregation.
Oh, and I get that.
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. And if you want an apology, I don't know who you turn to, but like you certainly do deserve one. You lived through it, but I did not. And anybody who is my age, you're a millennial. You did not live through this.
Yeah.
You don't deserve reparations of any kind. And I understand that, yes, slavery and then subsequently segregation and then subsequently all the forms of racism that existed, all of those things did hold back Black people in America.
Mm-hmm.
But you aren't owed anything.
Right.
Okay? Like, if at some point we all decide we're going to move forward as a society and give each other a hand, we'll go further. Like, you will, but you can't just be like, no, I would like the US government to pay out reparations to like Black people. Like, I'm not one of the reparations people. Like, I understand the point and the process of it. And it's like economically you feel like the entire culture is behind, but there are plenty of things that you can do, I think, economically to make up for that, rather than we're just going to hand out a giant paycheck to everybody and just let that be that. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
There was a really funny Dave Chappelle bit about that where did you see that?
Yeah, where everybody gets reparations. And the economy just gets a giant boost.
Yeah. And it was like the bling market went on. The word on Wall Street is definitely bling bling. And that was a Dave Chappelle bit, so I can say that. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, because it is kind of preposterous, this idea that's like, yeah, we're all going to get reparations and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, what happens after that? Okay, the reparations are there. Like, do you feel any different now?
Yeah, like, and because it doesn't help you if you haven't like learned to spend money and you haven't learned any of these things. You have to learn it. And, we see it happen all the time where at least I see it all the time with professional athletes where, someone who grew up in a poor circumstance, something that was hard, and they have a talent, they capitalize on their talent, they make a ton of money, but because in the process, nobody taught them how to manage that money, who to trust even. And I mean, I've seen athletes try to manage their money properly and just get ripped off because they didn't know who to trust. Stuff like that. Yeah. The reparations are going to help you out then if no one's taught you any of that stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, there's no magic bullet to fix all of this. We got here, over the course of several hundred years, one decision at a time. We're only going to get out one decision at a time, and looking for this sort of magic bullet, this fix all reparations or whatever else is there. You're not going to fix it all with that.
No, and and it's so crazy because I think honestly the real magic bullet is just be cool to each other, man. That's the real magic bullet there, and it's not instantaneous, but it's there. Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like the hippie answer. Just be cool to each other. But seriously.
And I'm the least hippie person you're ever going to find, by the way.
I mean, you and all your guns, of course not.
Yeah, freaking A.
But just don't be a jerk. You're listening to Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
We'll be back in a second.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM's news now.
Police are investigating Youngstown Road after a 20-year-old shooting victim showed up at the hospital, and they believe he was pierced by hot lead somewhere on the 3800 block of Youngstown Road at 10 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday. Chattanooga cops say the victim drove himself to the hospital. He's not severely injured. A new development in the case of a gang member who was found shot to death lying in his own pool of blood in the Hamilton Inn on Rossville Boulevard. A suspect has been arrested, Malik Phillips, who's 20 years old, charged with criminal homicide and possession of a firearm during the commission of a dangerous felony. The CPD called in the Marshal's Service to help find him. They tracked him down to Walker County. He's going to be extradited. Hamilton County Sheriff's Office is trying to track down a serial windshield smasher after multiple victims have come forward saying something was thrown from a vehicle in the opposing lane that smashed their windshield, and it's happened multiple times on Wednesday on Graysville Road and Udawal-Ringgold Road. Sheriff's Office investigating. Russell Stroud, Nooga Radio News, now.
In-depth traffic, news, and information. Mornings on Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Any showers will diminish through your nighttime, otherwise fair and muggy overnight. Lows into the lower 70s. For Friday, another hot, humid day, 90 to 92. A few widely scattered, mainly afternoon showers and storms, with scattered showers and storms a little more likely. Saturday, highs upper 80s. Chattanooga's best kept secret is at Boyd Speedway. Come see the Crate Late Model Dirt Showdown Race number 4 this Saturday night. Tickets and more at BoydSpeedway.net or Boyd Speedway on Facebook. And I'm Sourcing 12's Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Need windows? Hey folks, do you need new windows? Good news. Window Depot of Chattanooga has a great special going on right now. 10 high-quality, energy-efficient double-hung vinyl windows installed for only $29.90. That's right, 10 double-hung vinyl windows, only $2,990. And yes, they qualify for the TVA rebates. Call 894-0011. Window Depot of Chattanooga today, located at 5950 Shalford Road. Call 894-0011 today.
The American dream. Home ownership. Are you building equity for your landlord? Why not build that equity for yourself and your family? Rent No More is a no obligation, no cost program. It's designed to teach you the steps necessary and to coach you all along the path to home ownership. Integrity Mortgage Group is owned and operated by local expert Jeff Woody Woodburn. Jeff has been in the mortgage business for over 15 years. Born and raised right here in the Chattanooga area. Jeff is also known as the Lone Ranger. He's helped countless hundreds. Really eager to help you too. So don't wait. Come on, call Danielle right now. You need to reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Hey, Nooga Radio is proud to partner with Integrity Mortgage Group to bring you Rent No More. Reserve your spot for this exciting, informative event. Space is limited, so call now to reserve yours. It's free. 423-517-8004. 423-517-8004. Call 423-517-8004. Stop building equity for your landlord. Live the American dream. Home ownership with Rent No More. We'll see you there.
I have the best steak selection in town. Name of the business is Don's Meat Shop, and I'm Donnie Raines. Just ask for Donnie. I make over 20 different types of sausages. Most of them are great for grilling. We have the best selection, best quality. We have the hard-to-find items. Don's Meat Shop.
He stole out so much cash, such a huge mountain of cash, that he's become a national star. Rick Davis. You know the story. Cash, 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 and more cash. People can't believe it. They want to see it. And now Rick Davis has a new TV show. National TV, USA and Canada. He's got the gold and silver, diamonds and rings. You get dizzy just thinking about it. Rick's selling. Rick's buying. Cash, 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 and more cash. And now a mountain of cash catching the Hollywood spotlight. You know where it is. Brainerd Road. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Cash, 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 and national TV cash. That's really big. Everyone wants to see it. Money flying out the door. Rick Davis is America's jeweler. It's better than Hollywood. It's right here. Cash, 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 and more cash. Rick Davis, Gold and Diamonds. Brainerd Road.
You love me. You really love me.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
You're listening to Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
And I successfully, both times, remembered my name. I'm very proud of myself. I'm making leaps.
Congratulations.
You'd think I was in radio or something.
It's the caffeine that's done it.
Right. I finally drank coffee before the show.
Yeah, seriously. Last time we had like awful water coffee because I ran out.
Mine was mostly like the remnants of the creamer and water.
And I didn't use creamer, so I basically just got like brown water. Which sounds way worse than it really was.
Just absolutely destructive to your insides, I imagine.
Yes. Even more than I already am, which is saying something. So Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather are going to be fighting, is that correct? August 26th?
I believe, August 26th, yes.
Okay. And I'm not giving any promotion for Showtime, but I mean, you already know. If you already know about it, you already know about it. If you're following it, you're already following it. So it's not like, people are going to be, ooh, I heard about it on Two Millennials Talking. I'm going to go watch it.
Yeah, what? Nice endorsement there.
Yeah, if you're not going to watch it, you're not going to watch it. That's fine.
In which case, Floyd and Conor, we'd like our cut if anybody watches as a result
absolutely.
of us.
Yeah, I'm totally betting. Not. I'd be scared to bet. No, the safe bet is Mayweather is the annoying thing.
The safe bet is Mayweather, but you'd have to bet an alarming amount of money to make anything.
Yeah.
He's the overwhelming favorite.
I'm really tempted, and I'm like religiously, I'm not a betting person, but if I were, I would really be tempted to put some cash on McGregor, just because like if he won, it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, the payday would be insane. Like, you'd bet like $50 and you'd just be rolling in.
He would make up for me not betting on Bitcoin early on.
Right. I'm very interested in gambling, even though I myself do not gamble.
Right.
And I've actually said a number of times on my show, oh, this is a lock, I'm going to bet on it, and then I don't. Yeah. But yeah, no, this one to me is a lock. It just wouldn't be worth the trouble.
It makes me wish I had invested in Bitcoin early, because then I would have plenty of dough to throw at this particular fight, but oh well.
Yeah, though, like the last time I think the last time I said I'm going to bet on it because it seems to be like a very sure thing and it would actually have been worth it. I would have bet on the Falcons to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, no.
And I would have been the saddest person in the world the way that it went down.
Even sadder than I was watching the Super Bowl without even having bet any money on it.
That is correct.
Because we watched it together and it was horrible.
And it was one of those things where I was just like, oh my gosh, here comes. everything that I'd been saying about Atlanta all year long, I felt very vindicated, and then it all came undone in one half of football. One disappointing half of football.
What a freaking mess that game was. But maybe Floyd Mayweather is the Atlanta Falcons of this particular fight. Who knows?
I've watched so much boxing, and I've watched Floyd a lot in my life because I'm a big boxing fan, and so I just can't see it.
Yeah.
That's my only issue here is that I cannot see it.
And we've talked about the strengths and the weaknesses before, and we've both, I won't say we're both fighters because I'm not a fighter, but we both have like experience somewhat with how fighting works. Because I still do karate. I'm awful at it. I do karate. I have for like 3 years now. And you've done what, boxing in the past?
Yeah, I boxed briefly for like a month and a half.
Okay. So we have like some practical applicational experience.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like what's the main disadvantage that McGregor has?
The main disadvantage that McGregor has is that he hasn't specialized in anything. And so he's coming into the boxing ring against Floyd Mayweather, who is not just a specialist, but arguably a master and the best boxer in the world at this particular juncture. And Conor can punch, and I don't want to take that away from him. He has what everyone would like to call natural punching power, which is to say that if he's able to connect with you, you will go down.
Oh yeah.
And I think Max Kellerman, who is a great boxing analyst, pointed this out about Conor McGregor, which is that Conor McGregor hit a guy and knocked him out, falling away, which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
Unless you've got the punching power, which he certainly has. But he's not going to be able to connect with Floyd.
Yeah.
Better boxers have tried, and so I find it very difficult to believe that this is going to be the way that's going to work out.
The only way I can see McGregor really winning this is his advantage that he may have with mind games. And possibly, I don't think he's going to beat him footwork-wise because MMA footwork is a lot different than boxing footwork.
Right. And mixed martial arts, you typically end up having a wider stance because you want to defend against takedowns. And
absolutely.
I think it makes it easier to check leg kicks as well.
Yes.
In boxing, you don't have to worry about that on that level. So the footwork, I think Floyd's going to have the advantage there as well.
And what I'm worried about is McGregor, and I know you said earlier to me that contractually he can't do this, but I'm worried about him like accidentally, instinctively throwing a kick in. I don't think he would, but that's a possibility.
That's true, and I hope he doesn't because it's in their contract. If he does accidentally, like throw a spinning back fist or something, like he automatically loses the fight.
Oh, you can't do spinning back fists?
No.
Oh shoot, man! Like what's the point?
Yeah, boxing is literally straight up face to face.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Right.
This is the worst way to fight ever.
Which is why when you watch most fights in real life, most of them devolve into we're grappling. Because that is actually the most effective way to fight.
And McGregor I think McGregor would beat Mayweather in grappling easily, but not in boxing necessarily.
No. Floyd's the superior boxer, and they are boxing. And Floyd would never go to an octagon, by the way. It would never happen.
He's been challenged before too, as far as I remember. Like, I remember people saying like, "Hey, you should do MMA."
Early on in the contract negotiations, I heard a rumor. It's not substantiated, but that Conor wanted a 1-on-1. He wanted to fight Floyd in a boxing ring, and then Floyd to come over and fight an octagon. And Floyd's like, "No,
what?
I make so much money boxing. Why would I ever like?" Just Floyd is all about the money and about what looks good for him. Floyd, under no circumstances, the Floyd Mayweather want to put himself in a position to lose. And he's like, I make more money than you in my sport. If you want to fight me, come over here. I'm not going to you under any circumstances.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. I get it, but I don't want to say it seems unsportsmanlike, but it seems a little bit like, come on, man. He's going into your area.
Look, we've accused Floyd of this forever, which is that Floyd doesn't fight guys very often in their prime. When Floyd fought Canelo was very young and just getting to his prime. I think Floyd would have more trouble with prime Canelo, but he fought him before his prime started. Floyd didn't fight De La Hoya in his prime. Floyd fought De La Hoya just a little bit after his prime. He fought Manny Pacquiao after his prime. Like, Floyd's very good at figuring out when to fight somebody because Floyd is not about to lose. I mean,
did we know that it was after his prime at the time?
With Pacquiao, yeah, but we didn't think it was that far gone. And then Pacquiao lost like last week, and it was like, oh gosh, he looks old. But
that's pretty sad.
But with De La Hoya, we certainly knew it. And with Canelo was still at the point where we're like, this guy's going to be huge. So we knew he hadn't yet gotten to as good as he was going to be. Floyd's just very good with the timing of these things. He's not going to fight you if he thinks he can lose.
Yeah, and I've talked about fighting ability just with you in the past, and I'll say, like, if I, as someone who's done karate for a while, if I went against someone who is year one MMA, you know, like sort of just starting out and getting used to the MMA thing, I don't think I could beat him. And it's not necessarily because of the advantage or disadvantage. It's just that, like, he's learned different stuff than I have.
Yeah.
Like karate, when you learn karate, and they don't like to talk about this, they really don't. But when you learn karate, you're learning to fight other karate practitioners. We don't like to talk about it, but that's how it is. And I've learned karate for the sport of it, but also because, you know, if you're gonna get in a situation where someone's gonna fight you, they're probably not someone who's trained to fight anyway. It's someone who's angry at you. It's someone who's gonna mug you. It's someone who is in a confrontational situation. You're probably not gonna fight MMA, you know, an MMA guy. You're not gonna fight another karate guy because they both know, like, getting in fights randomly is not good. Well, some MMA guys do, but, you know,
right?
You know, like, getting in a fight, yeah, like, it's just not a good thing to do, because you could accidentally get destroyed because you threw a cheap shot in. Like, it does happen. So yeah, karate has obvious disadvantages, and so does MMA. And the obvious disadvantage with MMA is that you go up against a boxer and you're probably not going to make it. You know, like, the form I take in Hapkido is pretty balanced. There's some grappling in there, which is good, I think. There's some general boxing ability in there, which I think is really good. And there's some kicking too. But the grappling is pretty weak, and the punching is not on a boxer level. It's really sort of middle ground.
Right.
And, you know, fight me on that, whatever. But that's my analysis. So
they're just different disciplines.
Yeah.
That require different things. Like, you know, you fight in a boxing ring against other boxers. You understand all the angles of these different punches. You understand that there at no point should you ever allow yourself to take complete damage. Your hands are going to be incredibly quick because you're trying to get back to your guard.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen boxers go over into the octagon before and not be successful.
Yeah, we've seen technical karate guys who do traditional martial arts go over into MMA, get destroyed. They're very good traditional martial artists, but they get completely destroyed in MMA, or at least get beaten. If not completely destroyed, they usually get beaten. And it sucks, but that's just the reality of it. My point with saying all that, though, is that, you know, either way, no matter how the fight goes, I don't want to fight McGregor, and I don't want to fight Mayweather, because they're both extremely good, best of their class athletes.
And that's the thing. Like, even the guys that stink, right? Like, they're just absolute junk.
Yeah.
Like, you would consider them like guys that just get beaten up all the time. And it's like, what is the point of you? You fought that guy. That guy's still leagues better than us fighting, because, like, being the worst professional fighter, you're still a professional fighter.
Yeah. Like, you make money punching people. I don't.
You know, I remember I read a news article a few years back about this 70-year-old guy that used to be a boxer, and someone came in to rob his house, and he just fell back on instincts and knocked the guy unconscious at 70 years old.
Yeah.
Because that's all he's been doing his whole life. Like, that was his life. He boxed his entire life, and then once he was done boxing, he trained boxers. So this guy breaks into his house and can't fight. You know, look, the boxer's going to have the advantage over you.
You're screwed. It's like you're a thug with a handgun, and you break into a former operator's house, Navy SEAL, Marines, whatever. Really, any military guy. You break into his house, and he's got the same handgun. You're probably getting wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd's been boxing for 20 years. Okay, he's got Olympic. Well, he should have won Olympic gold, actually, and he got robbed in the Olympics.
Who did he fight? The Russians?
It wasn't Russians, but it was. I want to say it was somebody from Turkey. I could be.
I could say a lot of what's the word? Stereotypical things about Turks in the Olympics, but yeah. It was pretty bad. And I remember, I watched a little mini documentary on it, and Floyd to this day contends he should have gotten gold. And if you watch the fight, it looks like he won that fight. But he was an Olympic level fighter before his professional career began. Yeah.
There was no way. I mean, we don't stand a chance against that guy. And Connor is freakish. I mentioned he knocked the guy out falling away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And a number of other things. And his timing is impeccable. So when you throw a punch at Conor McGregor, And if it's anything near inefficient, you are going to catch a counterpunch in the face. He's a counterpuncher. As much as he likes to talk about how he's going to move into the ring and he's going to push Floyd into a corner, which good luck with that. But puncher at heart. And yeah, that's how he takes people out. And he's very good at it. You know, I have a joke that I've always made on my show about the all dark alley team. Which is because like the NBA has the all NBA team where like they give you, you know, oh, this guy's the best point guard in the league and this guy's the best shooting guard in the league.
Oh,
and they
gotcha.
assemble a team of essentially the best of the best.
The MVP all around.
Yeah. And they do it in college football too, where it's like, okay, he's the best, you know, quarterback in college football. That's the best receiver. And like, this is what a team of the best would look like.
It's easy to quantify those things too.
Yeah. I have the all dark alley team, which is not easy to quantify, but it's easy enough.
Right.
In that it's like the scariest people in sports.
Oh.
Like people that if you walk down a dark alley, do you want to see that person? I walk down a dark alley and I see Conor McGregor. I spin on my heel and turn back the other direction. I want no parts of whatever that is. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
Conor's crazy. Like we can talk about the racism with Conor McGregor. Conor's just an adjutant, a professional adjutant, and is very good at saying the thing that's most annoying, which, you know, might sound racist, but his job is to offend. So
he's like a stand-up comedian. There are a lot of stand-up comedians who say like some pretty racially charged things, but it's part of the routine.
Yeah, and we do have like a very, I don't know, we allow certain guys to get away with things.
Yeah,
and we don't, like Louis C.K. gets away with with saying the N-word all the time, and it's, I don't know, I always have a good laugh, but we just allow him to, and other comedians we do not allow him to.
And you know, you vote with your wallet. If you know he was poor, that would say something. But he's got quite a bit of cash.
Yes, and he's continuing to get HBO specials every year. So it's like something's working for him. But like I know that we would never allow Dane Cook to do it.
No, oh
right?
gosh.
Like if Dane Cook ever said the N-word, we would.
Even if the joke was good, it's just he's Dane Cook. You can't do it.
Right.
And I'll defend Dane Cook, by the way. He's had some pretty good zingers, but overall, I'm not like a big fan.
Yeah, I'm not a big Dane Cook fan, but you know, again, he's financially doing pretty well too.
Yeah,
so he's all right.
He's very like 2000s though.
He had his time.
Yeah,
you know, he's not going to be considered one of the all-time greats.
No.
Because he had a window where he was good, where his humor lined up with what people wanted to laugh at, and then it passed, and he didn't stay great. I mean, that's
Jeff Foxworthy. He's a Jeff Foxworthy of the 2000s.
Yeah, I mean Foxworthy too. It's just there was a moment in time, like a snapshot in time, where America liked laughing at that.
Yakov Smirnoff. You know, there's just people.
Yeah, or like the reason why George Carlin is considered one of the greats is because George Carlin was a guy that originally people didn't want to laugh at, and he got better with age, which rarely happens in comedy. Like as he went on, he continued to get better, and you're just like, yeah, this guy has to be one of the all-time greats because he evolved into what people want to laugh at, which is harder.
And it's really cool to see that in the modern age, where you've got someone like a Norm Macdonald. I always loved Norm Macdonald. Or Louis C.K. or Chris Rock is really funny. You know, like you see people who are just like the obvious greats, and it's really cool to like live in a time where you get to see them. It's like still alive and everything. Right.
And I think the internet definitely helps us be exposed to more comedians, because I don't know without the internet that I would really have keyed in on a guy like Norm Macdonald, whose comedy style can be a little out there, but then you listen to him, like give Norm Macdonald 5 minutes.
Just the way he says normal things.
Yeah, it's insane, and he's absolutely funny, and his timing is drop dead perfect.
It's just, man, he's an inspiration.
I say 5 minutes because some of his jokes are a little long.
Like the moth one. It's like, where's he going with this? And then you get to it, and you're like, oh.
And you're like, oh, there it is. There it is.
And sometimes it's just so dumb. You're like, that's just stupid, but you laugh anyway.
It's funny because you bought in. You bought into the idea that there was something here. And then you got to the end of it, and you're like, there's nothing. I should have known better.
Sometimes his joke, and I'll put it this way, his jokes are like X-ray glasses in comic books. You know, the back of the comic book, you buy the X-ray glasses, and it's like, I bought it.
Yeah, might as well use it.
You're just like, man, it's stupid, but I gotta laugh.
Yeah, I think that's where, like for me, Norm Macdonald because I found Norm Macdonald because of you.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
We watched that episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and I'd heard of him a little bit before, but I didn't really know. And then I just binge watched a bunch of Norm Macdonald stand-up hours, and I was like, I think
you've seen more of them than I have now.
Maybe, because that's all YouTube recommends to me these days is Norm Macdonald videos. So, but he's I don't know, like there's just something about his style that you're just like, why is he so weird? But it's great.
And his podcast, by the way, I'm not one to pump other people's podcasts, but his podcast is pretty dang funny. Because he's interviewed like really good comedians. I can't name any of them right now because I'm terrible with names, but he's interviewed some really funny comedians. And by interview, I mean he's basically just like done riffing with them, and that's it. But man, he's just so good.
Yeah. He hosted the ESPYs one time.
Oh no!
And roasted all of these professional athletes.
Yeah.
And like nobody was ready for it. And my favorite one is when he was going in on Ken Griffey Jr. And Ken Griffey Jr. like looked like he wanted to sink into his seat and vanish.
Oh no!
And it was funny to me, but I was like, I can see how if you are at that award show, and this is supposed to be a celebration of athletes.
Yeah.
And here is Norm Macdonald ripping everyone to pieces. Yeah, they never invited him back. I wonder why.
Yeah, seriously. I would say, like, if you're at a roast, there's like two people you don't want there. Norm Macdonald and the guy who did the voice of the parrot in Aladdin, whose name I had it and I lost
Gilbert
it.
Gottfried.
Thank you, Gilbert Gottfried. I can't want to say Greg Gutfeld. He's a guy
who is glorious based on voice alone.
Yeah, seriously. Which is not his real voice, by the way, which is also really funny. But yeah, like those are the two people you do not want at a roast of you. I don't know if I would go if they
right, like the Comedy Central roast, and then you sit down on the stage and you see Norm Macdonald and Gilbert Gottfried. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, I know. Oh, geez.
Go boy.
This is not going to go well.
I need to get out of here.
I hope we don't get roasted someday. Like that was terrible.
Because I'm not gonna lie, my skin is not that thick.
No,
I'm not thin-skinned. Like I can take a little bit of punishment.
Yeah,
but I can't take like genius level punishment from actual comedians. I'm sorry, I just don't have it.
We're not comedians. We just play them on the radio.
Right. Well, because I say that like there's some people who are masterfully funny.
Yeah,
and they might wind up being the best comedians that we know. And then there are just some people who are pretty funny for guys that you know. Like if that guy was in your group of friends, he would be the funniest guy in your group of friends.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't be a comedian. Like that's what we are. That's our level.
Yeah, and that's what the radio show sort of simulates, is like you're hanging out with us right now.
Correct.
But like as normal people, we're pretty boring.
But you put us on a stage and it's like, oh, the social anxiety.
Yeah,
you can see it from miles and miles away.
It's funny too because I've had people tell me I should do stand up, and it's like, no.
Well, in high school I wanted to go to a comedy club, and my friend like booked the whole thing for me and everything, and then I panicked, had a panic attack, and then I didn't go, and that was the end of my comedy career. Me not going to the comedy club,
which in and of itself is a good joke for if you ever do stand up comedy,
right? Which I've held on to forever.
Please use it.
You're listening to Two Millennials Talk. I'm Keon Rose.
I'm Russell Stroud.
We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Nooga Radio.